Welcome.
Are we ready?
We're ready. Welcome back to the Tool World podcast. I'm your host, David Ju, and I'm here with Master Ju.
How's it going there, Mr. Ju? It's looking a little chilly today. Got
chilly.
jackets on, not just a dobak. You know how California is.
Yes, 60 degrees.
I think we did that last time. But anyway, still cold.
Yeah, still cold.
For us, anyway.
Yeah.
You know, people in Alaska say, oh, those guys, 50 degrees, it's like cold.
They
We're
call this like
minus
shorts
50.
weather or something.
That's right.
Shorts weather. So recently we got a series of questions and just had some thoughts about Taekwondo, especially like the applications and specific techniques from the encyclopedia. And that's not necessarily like a new thing. I think you hear that not even just in Taekwondo, but it could also be in karate or any of the classical martial arts. Like, why would I really do something like that? Because you never see these type of techniques per se in like MMA or
Street
fights or things like that. I think you were sharing one of the stories about the twin forearm block.
Square block.
Or the square block, right? Maybe you want to share that, and that will lead us into kind of our topic for today.
Well, first of all, let's give a shout out to that person that wrote us a little note, because we don't get a lot of that.
Yeah,
so thank
we
you
don't
very
get too
much for sending in a note. It kind of helps us give us some ideas on what to talk about.
Right.
But yeah, no, absolutely. I think when you talk about like forms, those kind of things, and I still recall a friend of mine who has a martial arts school, and he just said, I'm taking out all of the forms, all of the patterns. It's just senseless. It's like, you don't fight like that. And I says, yeah, no, I understand, sure. And when you look at some of these techniques, it's like, would that actually happen? Could you do that? Like, for instance, the twin outer form block. You know, we talk about it's a block, a middle block, someone's attacking you from the front, and then you have a rising block in case someone's attacking you from the side, or maybe they happen to attack you at the same time. I mean, what are the probabilities of that happening?
I'd probably say pretty low. I don't know.
It's pretty low.
It's probably going to be pretty low.
Absolutely.
It's going to be coming really fast, too.
It's going to come fast. But, and I mentioned this about in class, and because I saw someone talk about the twin outer form block, or what he called the square block, and he says, oh, it's so stupid. And I was like, yeah, kind of, in a way. I kind of agree with that in some ways. But then in class, didn't I give you an idea on how you might actually use it? And that technique in real life, so we used an example of someone lunging at you with both hands, and one was slightly higher, one was slightly lower. And actually, when I blocked it, right? And I don't know if you were ready for that, or if you even noticed that that's what I was going to do. You might have had a slight idea. And after I was performed, then you go, hey, what does that look like? Right? And it's a twin outer form block. Or the U-shaped block. We talked about that not too long ago. When would you actually block a staff like that? And yet, I've done some other types of, I've done some other training as well, specifically like how to maybe disarm someone with a rifle. Try not to do that. Obviously, that's not very safe. But if you had to do that, and so recall the instructor saying, "Okay, we're going to do something like this," and I go, "Oh, U-shaped block, isn't it?" It looks very much like a U-shaped block, and can it work? Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about specifically in that particular scenario, it's like an active shooter coming into a classroom. And how do you respond to that? Obviously, if someone's pointing a firearm at you like that, you're not just going to go, you might want to just get out of there, or it's not going to be easy to engage in that way. So it's more like a surprise situation, but it still was a U-shaped block, if you want to call it that. It's not performed exactly the same, but very similar.
Right, so it's the type of different motion.
Well, that's a good question. So why do we do all of these things? And as I was saying in class not too long ago, look, when you look at Taekwondo, you have color belts, and then you have first degrees to third degrees, so which we call Bu Sabanim, or we say novice people in Taekwondo. Fourth through sixth degree, we call them Sabanim, which are considered experts. Seventh and eighth are masters, right? Sayangnim, and ninth degree as being grandmaster. So I like to kind of think of it like this. It's like, okay, you've got first through third degree, and we say they're novice. Well, what are color belts? Aren't they not novice in Taekwondo? Right? And I would say, yes, they're novice, but the real training starts, I think, as a black belt. And what we have as first through, 10th cup to first cup in our system anyway, white belt to black stripe. And they are, in my opinion, working on fundamental movements, really fundamental movements. You know, you could go, okay, we're going to go and throw you in the ring and fight this guy. Yeah, you could do that. You're going to learn fast. You have to get hit a few times, but not everyone's ready for that, right? It takes a little bit of a courage. I mean, we get like yellow belts. I've never sparred before, and I'm not sure how that's going to go. Yeah, don't worry. Just do the best you can. And, we have umpires to help you there. And, and sometimes you see them get hit, and they go on the ground. They're crying, But really, that's a great learning experience, as opposed to, okay, let's just throw you in the ring and just go for it.
Right.
And instead of just a little kick to the body and you're crying, you have a concussion or, you got a broken nose or whatever. You think that kid or that student is going to come back? Well, it depends on them. It depends on how tough they are, I guess, if you want to call it that, or whether they can get back. But I would say a lot of people, it's going to be hard to get back in doing it. I think that when you look at those lower ranks, it's really working on fundamentals. So that twin outer form block or that square block, it's a certain way of moving, and we want to be able to move our body a certain way. And we do it a lot, just a lot. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It becomes natural, and you don't have to think so much about it. And I think that although maybe the application is not what you might see on the street, but it's the way we move our body. And it doesn't mean that we have to move that way. But just imagine if you can jump up and do a 360-degree flying back kick. You don't need to do that on the street probably, but it's the ability to make your body do a certain thing, right? To move left, move right, move backwards, move up, move down. Would I do a high flying kick to the head? On a real self-defense situation? Probably not. Just because there's a lot of variables that could go wrong. But if you have that ability, a lot of your other fundamental techniques have to be pretty good as well.
So let's go back to the twin forearm block, and I would just kind of want to propose like a type of application I was kind of thinking about, because I think the question is about the application or in the encyclopedia in real life, right?
Right.
I mean, could you see
Right.
it where like somebody is grabbing you and then they're also executing a punch at the same time?
Absolutely. Real life application is so many variables. You don't know how people actually move or attack, right? But a lot of times you see what they might call it as a leveraging arm, where they put their hand out. It's kind of like a distraction in a way. They might grab you. Maybe they have a knife and then come in with the other hand. I've seen videos where people get stabbed by that, and what happens is they look and they're more focused on that hand that's out in front. It's like an attack as it's coming in.
Right.
And not realizing here comes this other attack
That's coming
from the other side.
Yeah.
And so when you think of that, if you're trained a little bit more and you go and you recognize like two attacks coming at you, right? I can see that being like a twin outer form block. Maybe not exactly.
Right. It could be like here.
It could be the rising one might be a little bit lower. It could be a little bit higher.
Right.
Exactly. But it's the ability to move that hand. It's kind of like when I watched some student last night, and they were high ranks, and we're just doing a real fundamental exercise. Really, it was more of a leg exercise where we kind of did stationary lunges and we're punching on the floor. Well, I was watching one of them and they were doing that. One hand is touching the floor, but the other one was stationary. I says, no, let's get the whole body to move. You're punching that floor, but the other hand's coming up like you're defending, like you're bringing the hand up. Or we do, like sometimes I try to make our body move a certain way. So we were doing like plyometric squats. You jump up, and when you land, I'm gonna go down like I'm ducking, but I'm putting my hands up. Right. And then I jump back up and throw my body to go up to help me propel myself up. And then go back down and bring that hand up again. Again, similar to like a duck, and you get your hands up. And so I kind of think that, just moving our body a certain way. And I think that when you look at patterns, no, we don't fight like that. And I've said that so many times. But what we're trying to do is get you to move your body, you move a certain way that it becomes natural.
Okay, I want to go back to our application in the encyclopedia and application in real life again. So do you think it's okay that we're changing certain things out of the encyclopedia, like in our own teaching and explanation? Or do you think it has to be a very clear cut, the way that General Che wanted it? Oh, I don't know why he wanted it like that. I mean...
Well, I think that it's theoretical. And so the encyclopedia is a theoretical idea on how something might happen. Well, you know what? You go to school and you learn certain things, and a lot of that's theoretical. I remember my dad, he was an electrician, and he says, I know a lot of engineers, and they would say this, this, and this. And he says, you know what? It doesn't really work that way in real life, because he actually was he was an electrician, but not an electrical engineer. So conceptually, the electrical engineer understands the principles and thinks that it should work this way.
Right.
But as an electrician, it didn't really, well, it did, but certain things also happened, or he also knew how to do certain things just, to shortcut it or whatever it is.
A Mickey Mouse job?
A Mickey Mouse job.
No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. And so, and that's true with a lot of, I think a lot of studies. I think that people that go to become an accountant, this is the way it's done. But if you ask maybe a bookkeeper, it says, that's true, but we do it like this because it adapts to the certain situation.
Oh, that's called new math.
Right. New math.
That's what they're teaching in the schools nowadays.
1 + 1 is 11?
Yeah.
Something like that? 1 and 1 is 11.
Right.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I was just joking around there.
No, it's a good point, though.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping into another Tool World podcast. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for jumping in. Don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Work on that square block, will you?
Yeah.